you have. All right. Happy Thursday. Let's see what we're doing today. We are going to talk more about compound inequalities, okay? When you leave me, you are going to go watch a video. Now, the video is not in Edgenuity. So it says watch 2-5 video. Here's the link. This is the 2-5 video. When you open it up, it's going to be, I don't know, who's teaching.
So I know that.
That's Mrs. Peterson. Mrs. Peterson is teaching. She is one of the 8th grade teachers, or she teaches algebra at Hudson Bend. So she's just one of the other ones. So go watch this video and then notice how it says you must submit your completed notes on Schoology today. So to get your notes, you're going to go right here. You're going to download it. You're going to either print it out and then take a picture of it and submit it, or you're going to open it with Cami and you're going to write down everything Mrs. Peterson writes down. So like all this stuff, all that stuff, even over here, all that stuff, you're going to write all that down. Okay. Write down everything the teacher writes down. And today it's Mrs. Peterson. And then, and it's going to be a daily grade. So I think I have updated the grade book. Like there's no missing grades or anything. So again, if you feel like there's something wrong with the grade book, you need to reach out to your teachers, double check. And if you're getting a 0 for a video that you know that you watched, you probably got a 0 for the video because you didn't watch it on time. That's why. And I've been giving a lot of 0s for those videos. So please make sure you're watching your videos on Edgenuity on time. You're submitting your notes on time. So today you're submitting your notes. Today is Thursday. That means you have until tomorrow evening at 11:59 to submit these notes on Schoology. Completely done with both pages. I think there's like 2 pages to it. So make sure you capture both sides and then get it turned in. Okay, take a picture of it if you want to print it out or submit it through Cami. Either one is fine. Okay. Let's practice. So we are continuing to do compound inequalities. And, but now today, what we're going to do is we're going to take compound inequalities and we're going to solve them. So it's like, it's a problem now. Okay. So just as a reminder, there's 2 types of compound inequalities. Remember, I have an and I have an or. Okay. So just as a reminder, for your and problems, when I graph them, the graph looks like 2 dots and then it's connected in between, right? That's what your and problems graph like. And how you write them is you always have X in the center. Your alligators always eat to the right. No matter what, they're going to always eat to the right. So you don't even need to worry about which direction they're facing because they always eat to the right. And then your smallest number is always on the left. Your biggest number is always on the right. And I just made up random numbers, okay? But for an or problem, when we graph it, you have your dots, but they always graph to different opposite sides. So they never connect in the center. And then when you write it out as like X is greater than or equal to -1, or you have to spell it out. You have to spell out or X is less than 5. Okay, so that's the difference between ands and ors. And it's different for you need to start knowing the difference because it makes the solving much, much easier. Okay, so let's solve this. I have 3 is less than or equal to X plus 4 is less than or equal to 10. So I'm going to solve it the same way that I've solved it, I don't know, since 6th grade. Okay, so take a look at where your X is. Pretend that you have like 2 equal signs. So does anyone think they know which is the number that needs to move to the other side, essentially? Do I need to move the 3, the 4, the 10?
Subtract 4 from all 3 sides.
Yeah, so do you see how 4 is on the same side as X? So 4 is the one that needs to go because I want X to be by itself. So since it's plus 4, I'm going to minus 4. But wait, I have like multiple sides. So if you have more than one side, you're subtracting 4 to everything. Like notice how I'm subtracting 4 to the left and to the right side. That's the new thing for today. Okay, so if I subtract 4, what do I have left over? 3 minus 4 is -1. I have my symbol, keeps the same. I have X. I have my symbol, stays the same. And I have 6, because 10 minus 4 is 6. Does that make sense what I'm doing? So this is essentially like a one-step inequality one-step compound inequality. I just subtracted 4, but you have to make sure you do it to every side because you have multiple sides now, and then just drop everything down. Okay, so let's actually graph this now. So if I want to graph it, I'm going to have -1, +6. I have, for the -1, do I have open or closed?
Open for open.
Yeah,
Open
if you have a
circle.
-1, there's no line underneath, so it's an open circle. For the 6, is it open or closed?
Closed.
Closed, because there's a line underneath. Okay, I already know this is an and problem, so I don't need to even think about the shading. I know that if it's and, where do I shade? Opposite directions or connect the dots? Connect the dots, because this is an and answer, right? Because everything's connected, an and answer, everything's always connected in between. But let me show you why that even makes sense that I'm connecting the dots. It says right here, x is greater than -1, so I shade to the right. Here it says x is less than 6, so I shade to the left. That's why I'm connecting the dots. Okay, so if I wanted to think about it, I could realize, oh, yes, you would shade like this. But you realize, and you always connect the dots, or they always go in opposite directions. Okay, let's take a look at this one. So I'm going to first draw my lines. All right, I want t by itself this time. So if I want t by itself, what do I need to do to all the sides?
Divide by -5.
Divide all the sides by -5, because right now it's -5 times t. So divide by -5, divide by -5, divide by -5. Some of you are like, wait, they didn't even write the question like in the right way. The alligators are facing the wrong way. The numbers, like the smaller one is on the right, the bigger one's on the left. That's okay. Let's just get our answer and then see if we have to move anything around. So 15 divided by -5 is -3. What do you think I need to do with my symbol?
Flip it.
Do you see how this time I'm actually flipping my symbol because I'm dividing by a negative? Here, I don't flip my symbol because I didn't multiply or divide by a negative. But same rule applies. If you're multiplying or dividing by a negative, you still have to flip your symbol. Then I have the t. Honestly, if you write x, it really doesn't matter. Then I have my symbol. You flip it because you're multiplying or dividing by a negative, and you have +2. So that's your answer. Oh, look. Now my alligators are facing in the right direction. Now my smallest number is on the left, my biggest number is on the right, so all is good again. Okay, so you don't need to worry about changing it. Like they purposefully miswrote the question so that when you flipped everything, your answer would look like it's in the right format. Okay, so let's graph this. I have -3, +2. So -3, is it open or closed circle?
Open.
Open because there's no line underneath. +2, open or closed circle?
Closed.
Closed because there's a line under. Okay, is this an and or an or? And, because everything's connected. And also there's just no word or in there. So if it's and, how do I graph it? Separate directions or connect the dots?
Connect the dots.
And so that is just something that should just be a habit now. You should be like, oh, and you connect the dot. Ors, you put them in separate directions. But if you want to think about it. T is greater than -3. That's why you're shading that way. T is less than or equal to 2. That's why you're shading that way. And then there's the dots to stop you. That's why you're connecting the dots. Okay, let's make it slightly more complicated before, I don't know, just so you're ready. So again, I know that like the numbers, the order, like the smallest number is not on the left side. The alligators are all facing the weird direction. That's okay. Let's solve it and then see if we have to do anything to it. Okay, so I want to solve for Q this time. Oh, I have 2 numbers to move. So this is like a 2-step compound inequality. Isn't that so exciting, guys? Like things that you've been learning in the past finally are coming together for other things too. Okay, so what is the first number you think you need to drop down?
4.
Close.
8.
8. Do you see how you don't want to divide by the 4 yet? You actually want to subtract the 8. You're doing all your adding and subtracting first. So I'm going to subtract the 8 on all the sides, just like how I would for a 2-step equation. Okay, so -4 minus 8 is -12. I have my same symbol because I didn't multiply or divide by a negative. I have negative 4q left over in the center. I still have the same symbol because I didn't multiply or divide by a negative. And then I have negative 20. Okay, still not done yet. I still haven't solved for q. Now what do I do?
Divide by 4.
Not divide by 4, close.
Negative 4.
Yeah, so just remember it's a negative 4, which does make a difference because you do have to flip it then, right? So in this case, now I have negative 12 divided by negative 4 is positive 3. I flip my symbol because I am dividing by a negative. I have q. I flip my symbol because I'm dividing by a negative here. And then I have positive 5. Look, smallest numbers on the left, biggest numbers on the right. All is good in the world again. Okay, look at your answer. If I were to graph this, do the arrows go in opposite directions or do they come in the center? Do they meet up or sorry.
Center.
Yeah, they meet up in the center, right? They're connected. Okay, so I'm not going to graph it. Okay, now look at this problem. Do you see how this one looks different? There's an or here. Ors are actually much easier than ands. Because when you have an or problem, this is what you just do. If it's h plus 7 is less than 5 or negative 9h is less than negative 45, you treat it as two separate problems. So I'm just going to solve that one first. Okay, so if I solve this one, I would just minus 7 on both sides. I get h, my symbol, negative 2. Do you see how all I did was minus 7 on both sides? And that's it. Okay, so I did that part. Now let's do the other part of my problem. The other part of my problem is right here. So I'm going to cover this up for now. Okay, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 9, divide by negative 9. I have h. I flip my symbol because I'm divided by a negative, and I have positive 5. So that's my answer. H is less than negative 2. You have to write the word or h is greater than 5. That is my answer. So do you see how ors are super simple? It's just like treat it as two separate problems, get both answers, and then stick the word or in between. That's all you have to do. Okay, so let's graph this now. Hey, JC, put your mic on mute, please. Thank you. Okay, so I have negative 2, positive 5.
That's because the dealer just tried to take out. Keep the water on it. Okay. You want some hard?
Okay, so I have negative 2, positive 5. And then let's graph. So I have an open circle for negative 2. I have an open circle for positive 5. It's an or problem. So if it's an or problem, do they come together or do they go off in opposite directions?
They go off in opposite directions.
Because it's an or problem. Ors always graph to opposite directions. Okay, so oh, can't see it. There we go. And then that would be my answer. Okay, let's do one more. And then if you want to do some more, we can practice some more. But I'm hoping you kind of get the hang of it. If not, we'll do some more. Not a big deal. Okay. All right. Let's try this one. Oh, this is weird. It says an and. So it's an and problem, but it says and. Like, remember how I told you yesterday? Like, some people do for and problems, they don't write it all in one sentence. They write it separately, and then they spell out the word A and B. So I wrote this here because I'm going to show you this is a way that people do it, but it's just honestly not very common. So if you see the word and printed, that's okay. Why don't we just solve the problem separately? Okay, so first thing I do is I minus 5 on both sides. So I have negative n is less than or equal to 4. Oh, is that my answer? Or do I have to do something else to this problem?
You have to solve the other side.
I do have to solve this side of the problem. Yes, but before I do that, am I done with this side? So the answer is no, I'm not done. What do I have to do to finish this off? Right now it says negative n. I don't want negative n, I want positive n. Nobody remembers? Okay, so remember negative n is the same thing as saying negative 1n. So if I want to get rid of the negative, don't I have to divide both sides by negative 1? So some of you just remember, oh, if it's a negative n, just flip the symbol. So instead of 4, it's a negative 4. But here's the thing, yes, but do you realize that you also have to flip your symbol, like of the inequality? It's no longer less than or equal to, it is greater than or equal to because you divided by a negative 1. So for those of you who are just like, oh, I remember the trick. If it's negative n, you just like change the symbol on the number. Yes, but you also have to flip the symbol. Don't forget that because you divided by a negative. Okay, and then there's an and now let's do this side of the problem. This side is a little bit easier. I just minus 3. I have n, my symbol, and then 5. So n is greater than 5. Okay. Wait, that's weird. N is greater than or equal to negative 4 and n is greater than 5? Like, isn't that kind of obvious? If n has to be bigger than negative 4, doesn't that mean that n is definitely going to be bigger than 5? Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? Like, this is a weird problem. Like, if I were to graph this, let me show you what that graph would look like. N is greater than or equal to negative 4. So solid dot, you go in this direction, and it keeps on going on. Okay, but then n is also greater than 5. So here's 5, it's an open circle, and then you keep on going to the right. So do you see how like these two answers kind of like overlap each other? So which one should I keep, do you think?
N is greater than 5.
Okay, so if I keep n is greater than 5 and then ignore this, wouldn't that be a bunch of numbers that I've missed out on? Like, this is really weird. This is completely different too. So if I say that n is greater than or equal to negative 4, isn't it obvious then? Isn't it like, duh, if it's greater than negative 4, then obviously it has to be bigger than 5 as well, because we're talking about all numbers bigger than negative 4, and 5 is one of them. So this is kind of redundant. I really don't even need to have this as my answer. I could just say this and then leave that as my answer, because if n is greater than or equal to negative 4, it's obviously going to include all the numbers that are greater than 5. So when you graph this, then you really only need to graph it like this. You don't need the open circle on 5, because this is already saying that it includes 5 because it's bigger than or equal to negative 4. It's just one of those special cases. I know that that's kind of confusing. When you watch the video, there's going to be a couple more special cases for you to kind of dwell over. Okay, so at this time, what you're going to do, if you don't have any questions, is you're going to go on Schoology. It is no Edgenuity today. Okay, you're just going to go click this video. You're going to download a blank copy of the notes, because that's what you're submitting today for an actual grade. Is it 100? You did it all and you turned it in on time, or it's a 0. You didn't do it all, or you didn't submit it all, or you didn't do it on time. It's 100 or a 0. Okay, so I'm hoping that all of you can get 100.